Despite my sunflower allergy, Mill bought a lot of them for our wedding without telling me. After being cut off by my fiancé, she begs me to allow her back in. I'm 28, and my fiancé, Michael, is 25. After 4 years together, we got engaged a few months ago. Our relationship is typical, and both families are cool with it except his mother. When we were dating and he introduced me to his family, I knew she wouldn't care if they liked me. This was because I knew she wouldn't care. Whatever I did, she wouldn't like me. She was always grumpy when she spoke to me, and seemed to think she was better than me. I failed to make her buddy despite several tries. I told Michael. But he said we couldn't do anything since his mother does it. Since I'm older than her kid, I don't meet her lady criteria. She dislikes ladies who aren't like her. Are you together for 3 years? She thinks it's long and finds it odd that I'm dating him. She does not think I would be a good addition to the family because I am not as affluent as they are. Michael's grandfather founded a catering and event management company that his family owns. Michael will run the company once his parents retire, and it may be one of the city's most famous. It doesn't bother me. I had no idea he hailed from that family when we started dating. It was unknown to me. I am a self-sufficient woman who has been working since she was 18 to guarantee she does not need anybody else's money, thus his income is unimportant. That makes me proud. My parents are normal people with typical jobs. My father ran a software company while my mother nursed. During college, he died. They tried everything they could to lift me. I was saddened to find Michael's mother thought I was a gold digger. I tried to keep our costs the same while Michael and I dated. Since I saw that she looked down on me for little and harsh reasons, I gave up trying to get her to come to me. Michael fought for me, but his mother worked for the corporation, so he had to get along with both parents. That was still difficult for him. I knew he would be embarrassed to talk to coworkers if he always fought with his mother. Unfortunately, a recent event has destroyed all relations with his mother. Even though they work together, he avoids her. Despite not knowing how to fix things, I'm being accused. As said, Michael and I engaged 4 months ago. The night following our engagement, something strange happened. I grudgingly married him when his mother pulled me away a few minutes after he proposed. She apologized for her prior behavior, for being unkind, and for feeling I wasn't helping her. At the time, I was happy and she appeared honest. I accepted her apologies and agreed to start again to make things right. Since her kid and I were starting a new chapter, I decided to give her a chance. Since Michael and I were engaged, his mother has been very friendly to me and even invested in our wedding planning in recent years. She took over the process, which was annoying because Michael and I wanted a modest, pleasant, and charming wedding. She had dominated the process. I wanted that for myself because I'm a loner and don't like big parties. Michael basically does it for a living. He didn't want wedding planning to be hard. We decided on a small wedding. Things changed when his mother got involved. She changed our wedding because she wanted it big. However, she insisted on having a spectacular wedding for her only child. Later, she offered a small service for just us and our family. She suggested we could. She was very involved in wedding planning. But it was tiresome because we didn't like anything she suggested, making it hard to find a solution. Michael wanted to minimize the number of things going on, and she wasn't ready for that. Thus, they had many conflicts. Since I had just started getting along with his mother, I mediated. I didn't agree with her, but I didn't want to break the atmosphere. As a result, things had been going this way for months, and our planned wedding seemed far off. Most of the planning happened in front of us during our observation. Except for the flowers and decorations, his mother said she would handle everything herself. We also let her run the department because that's her specialty, and it would keep her off our back for a few days. Several days later, I received an email saying my wedding flower arrangements were complete. The order contained sunflowers in dangerous proportions, which surprised me considering I have a severe sunflower allergy. If I were exposed to sunflowers in the amounts in the email, I would have trouble breathing and break out in hives. Because I have asthma and an allergy to a certain ingredient. I called the florist to check about the issue, thinking there was an error. Michael's mother ordered and validated the wedding order, they told me. However, she went to great measures to purchase sunflowers for the wedding, even though she knew I had a terrible allergy to them and could not be around them, especially in such huge amounts. She failed to notice that their employer was paying for all wedding expenditures, and that management was directed to notify Michael and me of any wedding communications. She may have forgotten and put the flowers on the bill instead. I received the email this way. It meant that the prior months had been fabricated, therefore I didn't trust it. That she was trying to make me like her so she could ruin my wedding by first winning my trust and then playing tricks. I told Michael about the email instead of calling her. Calling her again was pointless. Michael was 10 times more unhappy than me after receiving that email. This was despite my own disappointment from what had happened. He called his parents and fought with his mother after I showed him the email. However, his mother claimed it was an accident. Everyone in the family knew sunflowers contained the most dangerous allergens to my allergies, so there was no mistake. I don't see how someone could forget about this issue because no one else is having it. That is, sunflowers are unsuitable for her topic. She was good at flower arrangements, but it seemed odd that she picked sunflowers for the wedding when the color palette was so different. She knew her ludicrous answers would look bad with the wedding colors, so we didn't believe them. I haven't spoken to her since a week ago. Michael was also upset because he had always tried to be calm, even if he didn't like how his mother treated me. After that, it was clear she would do everything to make me feel like I wasn't part of the family, even undermining her only child's wedding. Michael cut her off for this after their last fight. Despite having to talk to her at work and elsewhere, he tries to avoid her. The situation is tight. Lots of individuals have talked about their relationship, and even coworkers have heard about it. My father-in-law is probably the most upset since he thinks this is bad for the company and creates a toxic workplace. Due to the damage to their professional relationship, he has been trying to convince me to talk to Michael and make up with his mother, even though much has happened. Personally, I don't blame Michael. Because of this, I've been trying to convince him to talk. We don't feel sorry for his mother's intentions, but she should apologize to us. We won't accept that she forgot I had a sunflower allergy or that they wouldn't fit the theme. She did whatever she was trying on purpose. She probably would have ruined our wedding and given me an allergic reaction before we caught her. This has been a point of dispute. A few days ago, his mother emailed me to say she was telling the truth when she said she had forgotten about my allergy and did not wish to disrupt the wedding, as we were presenting it. She wanted us to try together. She said she loves attending weddings, since her son didn't consider her. I'm the only one who can make it happen. I have not answered to the email, even though several of her family members have stopped interacting with her since Michael's crime. Michael and I have abandoned all of our previous plans, because his mother really wanted us to marry that way. From the start, we opposed an elegant wedding. Starting now, we'll do things our way. Additionally, we will not invite her to the wedding. We even chose to marry early. Since we are not planning a major wedding, we can finish preparing in the next few months and get married before the end of the year. We don't need to wait until the end of the year as Michael's mother wanted. Yesterday night, I called my father-in-law. I'll never forget the talk. He informed me that Michael had abused his mother at work and disregarded her in a meeting earlier that day. He said I needed to talk to Michael since no one else could solve this situation. I told him I didn't think he was acting inappropriately. He wasn't mocking or disrespecting her, therefore ignoring her was good. I didn't want to intervene because they ran their family company. After then, Michael's father discussed all the wedding arrangements being cancelled. I told him we would do our own plans because we always wanted a small wedding. His next question was if we would invite his mother to the wedding. To be honest, I told him we didn't want her to visit due to the situation. His father instantly worried and informed me things were bad and that his mother would break up if she wasn't invited to the wedding. His father freaked out immediately. Thus, this was a beginner mistake. This has to be done immediately. She had done something so horrible that I couldn't even convince myself she had our best interests in mind, let alone Michael's. I tried to tell him I couldn't assist. Without a buddy, we wouldn't want them at our wedding. After that, Michael's father lost his temper and said I was exaggerating. He also said his wife probably didn't mean to damage us or ruin the wedding by how we portrayed it. He recommended us to talk to her to clear the air and let her prove that the sunflower event was an accident. I'll be as bad as she is if we don't, because I'll judge her based on what I already think of her, as she did to me. It will be as she did to me. I regret not bringing my mother-in-law to my wedding when I realized she would ruin it, but I'm not sure if he's trying to get me to do what he wants, or if he really does. He may be attempting to get me to do what he wants. The first update is that I have only discussed the problem with Michael since my last article a few days ago. Despite his father's attempts to encourage him to talk to his mother, I told him to ignore it. Only spoke to my father-in-law since I get along with him in other occasions and didn't want to destroy our relationship. I told Michael that it bothered me because I felt like I needed to fix things even though it wasn't my job. If one of them reaches me, he encouraged me to say no thanks. He said he was professional at work. The only change was that he no longer welcomed his mother and avoided talking to her. Many theories and assumptions have been raised concerning their dispute, but his parents are not being honest about how it has affected their working relationship. The incident they discussed was included. He seemed to forget about her and mistreated her at work, although it wasn't bad. She spoke and advised at this time. Though he didn't answer quickly, he nodded. Despite his belief that it was appropriate punishment, his parents thought that was disrespectful. At this point, it looks they are trying to cause a scene over his conduct to acquire something they can use against us. I have no idea how they do it. His refusal to let his mother's relationship affect his career is the most important thing, and the only thing that counts. Clearly, he doesn't need to like her to work with her. His parents are overreacting, And even Michael admits they shouldn't have put me in this predicament. They should not trust me to solve the problem, even if they think I am the only one who can. If they're upset with his behavior, they should tell him instead of bothering me. Although I have told his father this information numerous times, I am convinced that the next time he calls, I will not try to hide it. Update 2: Michael and I agreed a few days ago that when his father calls me to discuss him and his mother, I will tell him I refuse to become involved. After some casual discussion, his father brought up the issue we've been discussing recently in his phone call today. You knew I didn't want to talk about it. Since the sunflowers and email incident a few weeks ago, I've been trying to tell him, but he's ignored me. I told him it was unacceptable for him to try to make me feel I was responsible for everything, even if I wasn't. He should have told his son and wife about his problems instead of me. I'm not responsible for family unity, especially when his wife has always been rude to me. Because of her cruelty, she built our friendship. She expects me to support her and believes she did not plan to ruin our wedding. I try to be polite and fun with my father-in-law when we discuss these topics. He seemed surprised that I took him so seriously this time. I appeared irritated. However, I was glad that he seemed to understand that we were done talking. He indicated that he was trying to talk to me about it because his son and wife were having trouble communicating, and he thought I might help them by talking to Michael. He said he had tried to suggest it, but Michael always refused him. He would leave, hang up, or do something else if Michael ended the conversation. After the dispute, Michael stopped talking to his wife, breaking her heart. He failed to discuss the problem with his wife. She desperately wanted to talk to him, but she was alone. At this point, she was emotionally vulnerable and denied wanting to spoil our wedding. We did not believe that, and I still do not. Despite your tears, facts cannot be changed. Modifying them is impossible. Although I am disappointed that she has been crying about it since Michael left. His connection with her. I do not feel guilty or sorry about it because I did not cause it. If she hadn't hurt me so badly, I could have thought it was an accident. My injuries were terrible. Despite my best attempts, I must question her. In any event, my father-in-law understood why I didn't trust Michael's mother's ideas or why I didn't want to get involved. He promised not to exacerbate the situation. He apologized for bringing it up so much in recent weeks. He told me he was worried about their personal and professional relationship because things had deteriorated so much. Many of Michael's close relatives have stopped talking to his mother, even on social media. Not good. However, that is not her priority. She wants her son to quit communicating to her and thinks she would do something foolish to ruin his wedding. At the same time, I felt awful for Michael's father since I knew he had to cope with all that had happened in the past several weeks. Nothing is wrong with my monkeys or software. I told him I completely understood his perspective and applauded his tremendous effort to keep his family together. It showed his family commitment, which was outstanding. I only talked to Michael about work to make sure he was courteous and professional. That was the only issue I felt comfortable discussing with him. Everything else was up to him. His father was calmer, and our chat ended well. That talk was really needed, and I'm glad it happened. I also told Michael about his father's concerns about work, and he promised to treat his mother with respect at work. I agree that our quirks shouldn't affect our work, and this is true. Along with that, I'm glad my father-in-law lets me avoid this predicament. Third update: Michael's mother visited today. Since we last spoke a month ago, I didn't expect her to show up. However, I let her inside and treated her well. We kept quiet when Michael entered the living room. Then she did it. She looked unhappy and fatigued, so I let her in instead of making her wait outside. Not being rude or dismissive was my goal. She apologized to us and said she didn't mean to ruin the wedding as we thought she had. Despite this, she understood our sentiments because she had hurt me before. She didn't want us to feel awful about thinking the worst of her anymore since we were more likely to do so. She realized that, despite her repeated attempts to contact us, she had never tried to meet us in person and convey her sorry for what had happened. So she came here. She thought it was worth a shot even though she didn't think we'd forgive her right immediately. However, she said the sunflower event was a mistake. She ordered the flowers without thinking since she felt they would add color to the wedding. Michael and I stayed mute as she spoke. Her apology was followed by a few minutes of silence. Michael told her he needed to think about it before forgiving her. This was throughout their relationship. He told her I could decide whether to invite her to the wedding. I told her the same. Since things have been going so terribly lately, I needed time to decide if I wanted her at the wedding. Following that, his mother spoke little. Even though she wasn't invited to the wedding, she said she understood and left after wishing us well. Even though she expressed sorrow, it was a positive change from the prior 2 weeks. Let's see whether she's invited to be the bride because the wedding is still months away. My spouse Michael and I married in a beautiful ceremony. Our final point. Our wedding expectations were met in every way, a discreet but elegant gathering. We are excited to start a new chapter as a married pair. We also feel glad that we ended the trouble. My mother-in-law was there, for better or worse. I know you're wondering if she was invited. When she came to us a few months ago to ask for forgiveness, she gave us time. She stopped annoying us and tried to be calm at work. Suppose she spoke to us. She had her husband call me when she wanted to talk to me or Michael. This was our communication. Most of what she said was sorry and best wishes. After getting to know her, we included her in the wedding invitations. I don't know if the sunflower accident was intentional or not, and I doubt I ever will. However, Michael and I wanted to put this small drama behind us as we started a new road. She cried when she learned she was invited and phoned us. She was glad we did this. She also promised to never disappoint us again and make up for her mistakes. Because she chose a gorgeous bridal bouquet for me and a corsage for Michael. She did this because she loved us both. She told us it was not much, and that she was just apologizing and making amends. Everything went smoothly during the wedding, and she and my father-in-law gave a great speech honoring us. As you say, anything might have gone wrong, but it didn't, and that's what matters. I'm usually glad I trusted her enough to give her a chance because it was a good decision. The return to normal is an understatement, but who knows? Perhaps they will move slowly. However, Michael and I are just excited about our honeymoon.